You see, stop. It's my turn to talk. Let's get one thing straight. I don't believe in the controversy 7. I don't even believe the controversy 7. And here's why. Number one, he's a fear-monger. Fear-mongers are only fear-mongers. They always like to cause people to panic. They make people fear. And he's making you fear. All he talks about is fear. Fear, fear, fear. He does not talk about anything that is relevant, or he doesn't talk about anything that should point you to the Lord. He only talks fear. He tries to instill fear in your hearts. That's number one. Number two, I don't like the controversy 7 because he is not talking about the truth of the Bible. The controversy 7 is a liar. In fact, I can prove that to you. But just not yet. Bartholomew, you better stop your crying. You ain't no crybaby. 3. I don't like the controversy 7. I just don't like him, and I can't stand the controversy 7. So I just want you guys to know. I want all my fellow brothers and sisters, those who agree with me, to stand with me now. Let's stand together. We're not afraid to stand against the controversy 7. In fact, we're going to stand against him right now. So all my troops and all my fellow comrades, let's stand up right now. Let's stand for in the name of truth, and let's put an end to the controversy 7. In fact, I want you to go to social medias, and I want you to start typing, type saying hashtag controversy 7 is a fear-monger, and let's protest controversy 7. So we can have him, completely get the message that he's a fear-monger. Alright? Let's do that. Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in and for joining me. This is the Controversy 7. Obviously you know that. You see, I'm a little bit frustrated, but at the same time I'm not frustrated, because people who are in the world, it's only natural for them to behave, or to behave due to the natural tendencies of how you will behave if you're in the world. So which means truth to you will be a strange thing, which is completely understandable, and that's no reason to be frustrated for. It's more those who claim to be Christians, those who cover themselves, or they put themselves, or they categorize themselves as being under the umbrella of Christianity, which means that they are the followers of the Messiah, the one who we call Jesus Christ, or Yeshua al-Messiah. And so when you look at this, these people who claim to be Christians, and that's going to be actually the majority, many of them, they actually refuse true, sound biblical doctrines. They may go and look at the teachings of the book of Daniel, but they're not even going to go and and study it. They'll go and they'll hear people talking about the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation, going back and talking about the events of Noah and Sodom and Gomorrah in the days of Lot. And while they hear all these things, and then when people begin to say that we're in the time of Noah and in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, they say, stop. I know where you're going with this, brother. That's a fear-monger. You're a fear-monger. I know you. You're using fear tactics. People are so quick to jump into that section of you're preaching fear, rather than accepting that we are in the days of Noah, and we're also in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, in the days of Lot. It is not rocket science. If somebody's coming to tell you this, you should be happy that, okay, I'm being informed of what's taking place. Have you even considered the news? Most people go towards the news. What does the news, in fact, what does the news promote? If anybody if you turn on the news just to hear good news, I would be surprised. Because when many people go to tune in and watch the news, they are going to, with that mindset of, well, I wonder what bad thing I'm going to hear today from the news. I wonder what bad thing I'm going to hear today. How many people died? What happened in the world? What happened? You're not going to the news to go and listen to some for a good news report. If everything is good in one news channel, you're going to flip to the next channel because you don't want to see that. You want to see what's bad. Why don't you approach the news stations, and why don't you protest the news stations and say, well, you guys are promoting too much fear. We need something good. But you know what? It's very interesting that the news nowadays, there's other news stations that are giving you exactly what you want, but they're giving you something that's bad for you. They're giving you Hollywood insider news. You want to distract yourself? We're going to give you Hollywood glamour. We're going to give you the Kardashians. We're going to talk about the Kardashians. We're going to talk about what somebody saw this celebrity did. This celebrity went to a coffee shop. Wow. That's what they're going to do. And in fact, they're doing that. So can you see what's happening? People are in the mindset of, well, if I don't want to hear anything bad, but I just want to hear something good. So they're gonna give you. They're not giving you any. They're giving you bad options to begin with. But when it comes to the Word of God, the Word of God is not to be treated on the same scale of anything else. The Word of God stands separate on its own. The Bible is separate all by itself. You see, there's many philosophers who have come, and they have all made predictions. Their predictions always ends in destruction, and there's no hope. The Bible is the only book that actually, that talks about how there is a bright hope at the end of the human history. While it talks about the end of time is here, it is not saying that there is no hope, because the hope of the ages, Jesus Christ, is coming. So how is it fear for me to tell you that Jesus is coming? And how is it fear for me to tell you that before Jesus comes, there are certain events that must follow, and you need to be prepared? Because if I don't tell you this, you're going to wish that you were told. And yes, I understand that there are people out there who go out, in the streets, and they have the words hell, fire, this and that, where you're going to burn in hell. That is preaching with fear. But if you are being shown, okay, this is what's happening in the world, in one part of the world, and this is what's happening here. This is where you are. It happened here. It happened here. You're coming next. If you are being told to be prepared mentally, spiritually, and even preparing in a literal way by even stopping how you shop, because some people, well, not some, most people when they get their paychecks, oh, I just got paid today, all that money's gotta go somewhere, I'm going to blow it away. Money comes and goes. That's the logic. You only live once, you might as well blow it away. Money comes and money goes, so I'm just gonna go and spend money. Most people are trapped under that mindset. If you are trapped under that mindset of money comes and goes, therefore when I get paid, I gotta blow that money away, you're always going to live from paycheck to paycheck. And in these last days, it is very dangerous for any of us to be in that mindset of money comes and goes, I'm not gonna have this money forever, so I might as well blow it away. If you have that mindset in these last days, you will definitely not be prepared to be able to have your own garden. If you can't afford to go out into country living, I know one thing that all of us should be able to afford is being able to just rent gardens. You can be able to do that. Rent yourself a garden out in the rural districts, and then you plant your seeds. If you don't have money to be able to afford to live out, although you may live in the city, you go out, because there's coming a time when you're going to go to the stores. The stores are going to be empty. There's coming a time where you want to go to the gas stations. The gas is going to have, there's going to be no gas at the gas stations. Then how are you going to move around? You need to have things like a bicycle. You need to have things that are going to be, I'm just talking about basic necessities: transportation, food, water, clothing, shelter. You're going to go back. All of us are going to have to plan to downsize. If you are planning on buying yourself the latest television, the latest smartphone, trust me, the smartphone is going to be your enemy. You need to get rid of a smartphone. And if I was you, I'd go back to getting myself, get myself a flip phone. I know it's funny, but that's just to get our minds, to get ourselves prepared for when we go out into country living. You don't want somebody tracking you down, because these phones, there's a reason as to why you can't take the batteries out from the smartphones. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm being paranoid to also say, because now people are going to be like, oh, now he's saying cell phones are bad. See, anything that I say is going to be bad for the people who believe that I'm fear-mongering. I'm just telling you to use common sense. If you say everything is fear-mongering, the same thing was said in the days of Noah. Noah preached saying, the end of the world is coming. The end of the world is coming. Over and over and over again, he said that the flood is coming. There's coming a flood. People first believed, but I'm sure that people began to then wither away with time, and they began to say, Noah is a crazy guy. Noah is a fear-monger. Noah was labeled a fear-monger for 120 years. And until that time, people kept mocking and laughing, and then eventually destruction came. They were not laughing then. Is it not biblical? The book of Daniel talks about how when Michael stands up, the great prince, when he stands up, what's going to happen? There's coming a time of distress, a time of trouble such as has not been since there was a nation. In other words, a tribulation is coming. That is biblical. But right after it talks about how the tribulation is coming, immediately after the tribulation that's when we will see the hope of the ages. The Messiah is going to come. Jesus is coming. You don't need to worry about the tribulation and think, oh, because most people, all they hear is tribulation, crisis. That's it. They don't hear anything else. All they hear is they have selective hearing where they choose what they want to hear, and then they say, okay, I'm going to just stop right here. That's what this guy is talking about. It's just fear. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear anything else, and I'm going to expose this guy for talking about for pushing fear. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be of that mindset, because you will end up being in a position of, you know what? I've heard too many of these things. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. It's not true. America will last forever. Everything is going to go normal. If anything's going to change, we're going to change for the better, and we're going to be in a utopia. That's all that I have determined in my mind. When you have that in your mind, you're going to be in a state of unpreparedness, which means trouble is going to come at your door and you are not going to see it coming. Is that fear? It's better that you know than to not know, because if you don't know, then you're going to have an excuse and you're going to say, well, I didn't know this. How come nobody told me this? But while you're being told this, you are saying, that's too much fear. I don't want to hear it. It's called common sense. Think. think. That's all I just wanted to say. You know, don't jump into conclusions, especially in those videos that I make, because the first parts of my videos, yes, it talks about what's coming, the distress, but after that it talks about the hope of the ages and how to be prepared for the events that are coming. Don't just take half of what I say and not watch the entire video, because it's not wise. That's all I'm going to say at this time. Thank you for tuning in and for joining me. You take good care of yourselves, be safe, and I will see you guys next time.